Today is 7th of May 2026. It's just clocked 1, so. But this is a review stroke journal of a previous trade idea that enabled me to finish phase 1. Well, I didn't execute on gold and silver. I executed on euro and USD, but I thought I should journal this down because this is a very good example of. It's a very good example of a lot of ideas or a lot of it gives me a peek, or it gives the viewer a peek into my thought process when I'm deciding to take a trade. What I want to highlight is just to go through on that quickly. I was bearish gold at the start of this week. Today is Thursday, but at the start of this week I was bearish gold. And the reason why I was bearish was we had hit this FVG in the previous weeks. So from April 13th, I was bearish and I had gotten a few trades going down, particularly the main trade idea I had was coming off the daily right here at the market structure shift. Right here. Now the market structure shift is quite clear on the H4, right here. So off that market structure shift, I had a trade idea and I was literally selling from up here, and my targets were these lows. And I targeted lows up to down here. And my final target was down where this red line is. It was this side down. So coming into the week, I was bearish. But something interesting was happening on DXY. Now, let me just put the DXY chart here real quick. Now, the DXY was also bearish. It had been bearish for a long time now from April 13th, uh, which is here. Yes, it was bearish, but then we were sort of in a retracement phase. At the same time, while we were retracing dollar buying, at the same time gold was selling. So from this is Friday, 17th April, which was a high. And interestingly, it was also the low on dollar before we got this retracement up here. And from 17th April up to 29th April, we were just going down on gold. And we're also seeing the same pattern up to 29th April, which is literally the high. We're going up on DXY. So this shows a clear correlation between the two assets. So when we hit this high, because I was bearish, I can't explain the full context, but I was bearish dollar for a long time from the weekly. Even when we were catching the retracement, in my head, I was like, yeah, I think we're just retracing. But I wanted to see a retracement up to this gap and then go down. Now, we didn't quite get it, although other data providers show that we did, but this was also fine. So when we came here on Wednesday and then we shifted bearish with this market structure shift on the daily, obviously with the 4 hour, it was also there. Yeah, in the 4 hour, it was also right here. When we shifted, so just a second. So when we shifted bearish on 30th April, obviously with the 4 hour, it was there. When we shifted, actually, I remember that day I think I was in buys, and then I got out on USD JPY, and it literally fell the next day. And then Friday, I came to grab some of these sales right here. Actually, I had an idea. Let me just show it to you. On Friday, I had a sell idea that happened. It was right here in London at the market structure shift on the 1 hour, right here. We took out the Asia high. Then, as we're breaking London, I captured a 1 to 2, and then I ran out. I thought I was lucky that day, to be honest with you, but it is what it is. So, so when we shifted on Thursday, I thought, yeah, it's time we start rallying to the downside. As you can see, these red lines were my targets. So my first target for the week was right here and then here. So obviously, coming to the week, we're bearish. So the week starts. This is Friday. We got a retracement, and then Monday we came into the FVG. And also, obviously, with a bearish week, you'd want to see manipulation on Monday, which was what was happening. So we came into this bearish FVG, and then Tuesday, interestingly, we got this doji. But by Tuesday formation, when you go in the 1 hour, which I'm not going to get into here, when you go to the 1 hour, it had given us a market structure shift on this day. It hadn't given us a lot of momentum down to the downside, but it had given us like you'd start thinking, market maker model is forming and we're going down, right? This was Tuesday, right here. See Monday, the highs are forming. Then Tuesday we get the market structure shift right here, and then we get it again here. So me right here, I entered my first sell position, stop loss above, and then I was aiming for this low, and then downer lows. But I was really okay with just this low. This was like my second TP. So just to go back a bit. So yeah, I was bearish dollar. So let's go back to gold, and I continue to highlight this trade. So this is the daily chart, and then this is supposed to be the 4 hour. So I was bearish dollar. At the same time as I was bearish dollar, I was also bearish gold, which was very odd at the start of the week. So I was thinking I can't be bearish on gold and dollar because they are inversely correlated. So I was watching the market. Remember, I was strongly bearish on gold and silver, right? Because I was thinking we're still going down. Now, gold, interestingly enough, it had a reaction on Thursday into this FVG. And then I kept on thinking, are we shifting? Because like on that Thursday, it formed a 4 hour market structure shift, right? And also I'd been looking at this order block, thinking, what if the market bounces from here? But I don't order blocks are not something I prioritize so much in my trading. So that I always highlight them as a by the way, but I never really look at them as the main thing. Although they work. Not I'm not saying they don't work, but it's a bit stressing to always look at FEGs, highs and lows, and order blocks. So order blocks I are a bit of a by the way. So back to the point. So gold gives us a 4 hour market structure shift right here. Yeah. And I'm thinking, are we starting to turn? Because there is a bullish, you know, order block. So I was starting to get ideas of bullishness, but I was not yet sure. I was still waiting for confirmation, right? Remember, at the same time, dollar turned on Thursday. Literally, dollar turned bearish on Thursday. So I'm starting to think maybe gold is bullish. But what's interesting is this is Friday. Friday forms such a very funny candle this week. We candle in an FVG, in a daily FVG. Obviously, when you see this setup, personally, I'm thinking it's time to sell. And remember, I was still selling. I was still in a bearish like mindset, bearish bias. Although it was starting to shift, it gave me one of my most ideal setups, but I didn't take it. Yeah, it gave me this setup here on the 4 hour. Yeah, market structure shift to the downside. Now the reason why I didn't take it is because dollar was bearish, and the dollar setup was really really good. And for me, DXY takes priority over everything. So I saw this setup, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to let it go. If it wants to run to this downside without me, that's fine. But I'm not going to enter. So market comes down, hits the FVG, sorry, the order block, and then starts to turn. The whole time I'm not in this market because now I'd say entering Euro USD, I'd say entering bullish ideas. But it's interesting that when gold came to take out this low, right, in an order block, yeah, silver refused. Silver refused to take out that low. Also, on top of it all, gold reacted very strongly off this bearish FEG because actually this FEG delivered as much as the market was turning. The FVG delivered at least up to the low and then turned. However, silver, this FVG, the same FVG that delivered on gold didn't deliver on silver because it got run through the next day. And when it stayed going down, it didn't come back to the low. So all that is confluence starting to show you that the market might be changing. Yeah. And then yeah, we get this bullish leg up. And I think gold has turned bullish. And if there is an asset that can literally rally and rally and rally and rally, it is gold. And personally, I believe like, it's just starting. It might go up to 5,000. I think it's really possible. So this is a trade idea that I'm having because I missed the major move. I didn't enter initially because I was already like over 2%. It was actually more than 2%. It was like 2.5% risk in Euro USD and GBP USD. It enabled me to finish my phase one, but this is the gold setup that I'm looking at. With the gold daily market structure shift, I think nothing looks better than that. It's one of the best setups. Silver is doing divergence at the same time, dollar is bearish. The reason why I'm not entering dollar like Euro USD or GBP USD is because for me, in my head, I believe that my weekly targets were hit. But on gold and silver, they had not yet turned that side. Let me just put the dollar chart so that I talk about this while you are seeing it. Now, the reason why I'm not using TVC is because it had a weird error, so I'm just using Capcom for now. So yeah, right here, dollar turned bearish on Thursday, 29th April, right? But gold was still really bearish as well. Because you couldn't say that it has turned, although it had given us a 4-hour market structure shift. Personally, I was waiting for this FVG to be overrun for me to start considering, you know, bullish ideas on gold because it was really looking bearish. And then more than that, it gave us a bearish, market structure shift to the downside. So you couldn't just enter bullish because dollar was bearish. You have to wait for the setup to confirm. Also, when we got Monday, me I was thinking this is manipulation, and then we got the move to the lower side. And this move looks small, but I literally did 5% from this top up to this low. Literally, that was 5%. I think because I entered early and I was so confident about the move. So I just targeted this and this low. And yeah, dollar is still, I feel like dollar, not that I feel like, I'm confident dollar is still bearish. But like, it's NFP week, it's towards the end of the week. Today is Thursday. It's going to form a new candle, you know. I think it still has room to run, and also with NFP, like you could just see it going wild up to down here, and then the rest of the weeks would be just like the next one week would be just fake, and then we get a movement the other week. But I'm okay with that, right? I've already hit my weekly targets. I'm not I don't want to be too greedy. I don't want to be too greedy. However, because gold wasn't bullish from the get-go at the start of the week, right? It wasn't bullish from the get-go because for dollars already bearish, I believe like gold just turned bullish today, literally, in my opinion. I think it just turned bullish today. I believe, it could still continue. So if dollar still wants to run, I believe personally the setup I would want to see is on gold and silver. And also I think silver is more bullish than gold, but they're almost one and the same. So yeah, I didn't catch the initial move here, but I caught it on Euro USD and GBP USD to finish my phase one. Now I'm looking for a retracement. If we can retrace up to this level, it's literally just this FVG that I want. I literally want the market to just retrace into this FVG and then go up. Something with silver. I just wanted to retrace to the FVG. And then we go up. I'll update further.